Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Welcome to Weekend Update. We had a great bullish week last week. All major indices, Nasdaq, S&P 500, Dow Jones, they're touching new all-time high. We'll review all of these. We'll review Bitcoin, we'll review commodities, we'll review other major stocks as well. And if you guys like this content, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. You can go to my profile. There's a YouTube link. You can go there and subscribe. Really appreciate if you can share this with your friends and family. So let's review and let's start with Bitcoin. Okay, let's go to Nasdaq here. You can see we got a sell signal on Nasdaq here. This is range chart, 100 range chart around, let's see, around 3:55 p.m. Here also 80 range chart, 3:55 p.m. exactly both sides we got sell signal. You can see we were in a sell zone on Nasdaq. This is a famous line you guys are aware of. So red lines are sell lines, green lines are the buy lines. Sell signal here. And let's zoom in this one. This is a linear regression chart. I haven't got sell signal, but sometimes signals are late. You basically take a sell signal as soon as the candle closes below this white line. You buy as soon as candle closes above this white line here. So buy signal was here. Now we're getting a 30-minute sell signal on here as well. So a lot of sell signals on Nasdaq. So anyhow, let's go and review. Let's zoom in this chart and let's do a Bitcoin review first. Let me hide these moving averages. And oh, before I go there, let me show you these short-term levels on Bitcoin first, right? So let's review these ones. So basically, red lines are the sell lines, green lines are the buy lines, middle line, white line is no trade zone. We don't do anything, and we sell on the red lines, we buy on the green lines. Let's see how Bitcoin did last session. So basically, let me go back. Actually, this is a live market, so I have to go back. Friday, February, sorry, this was Thursday. This is Friday here. This is the range. You can see how nicely Bitcoin came very close to green line, sell line, and then again dump, right? So you can see here, easy if you were a bit proactive, you could have made easily 2% profits here. Ethereum, let's quickly see how it did. Ethereum did even better. You can see buy to sell to buy. So, and again, you can see from here, buy to sell around 1.8%, then went from then went from sell to buy short 1.85, and then if you took again zones here, it was again like 2% up here, all right? So where we are right now, let's go back to Bitcoin. So we are in a neutral zone right now in Bitcoin, okay? Ethereum also in the neutral zone. Let's quickly review all the indices, how they were first. So you can see NASDAQ, this S&P 500 came from neutral zone to the sell zone and now below sell zone, all right? So this was a pump from neutral zone to the sell zone around 1.42%. NASDAQ had a great earnings on Meta and Amazon, and you can see it was that helped around 1.78% higher. Dow Jones is also, you can see, came very close to the buy zone to the sell zone, around 1.2%. Russell 2000, actually it was the weakest, but came from buy zone to the neutral zone, which is white line, around 1.77%. Crude oil. Okay, so if you want to get clues for next week, what you want to buy crude oil because it's in the buy zone. Okay, I don't think anybody is telling you all this. So this is short term. You can see it's only for day trading. I think crude oil is going to go very bullish. It's in the buy zone. So from here, I think as soon as Monday, you can expect a bullish pump to 4% higher. That's going to help you. CNQ, I just bought CNQ on Friday, and you can see why we went below third standard deviation. Every time stock goes below third line, it's a no-brainer buy zone. Okay, so I bought here, so I'm expecting a pump from here. At minimum it can go to neutral line around 4% higher, so that will be my target here. Tesla also, you can see Tesla buy zone and pumped on Friday. You can see from here to here 3.35%. Gold, you can see massive dump from the sell zone. You can see here it was in futures were in red, and that was a perfect sell zone, red to buy zone, 1.79% dump. Silver, same thing here. You can see from red to buy zone. So right now it's in the buy zone still. You can see 3.67% easy profits here. And natural gas also, you can see sell to buy zone, easy dump here. You could have bought KOLD inverse ETF, and then again from buy zone, it's now pumping. So it went to neutral zone around here. All right. Dollar also, if you guys watch my video, last Thursday I created, I was saying dollar is in the buy zone. Okay. So this is like Thursday was here. This was an indication dollar is going to pump and gold and Bitcoin is going to dump. And exactly that's what happened. Dollar went from buy zone to the sell zone. Now the good news is dollar is in the sell zone, so I think dollar is going to come back to the buy zone and it's going to sold off, and that's going to help Bitcoin and gold to go higher, guys. So I'm expecting on Monday dollar to dump and gold and Bitcoin to pump. Okay, this is an indication if you guys want to trade. This is like an early indication. So this is a hint for you. By the way, guys, if you like these zones, if you want to know more about these zones, there's a link in the description of this channel. You can join YouTube, you can subscribe, and I share every few hours zones for major indices. I share zones for Bitcoin, gold, crude oil, natural gas, MES, S&P 500, and Nasdaq. And if anybody requests any other zones, I share that every few hours in my Discord group. So join YouTube. It's going to be very helpful for you guys. All right. So now I think we got rid of this. So why don't we go and do like a daily analysis, a long-term analysis using this other chart. So let me zoom this in. Let's go to hourly chart. Let's quickly try to scan through any gaps first. Okay, let's see if there were any major gaps which we missed. So let's do some major indices. Tesla, it was gap down first day on Friday, and then again recovered to fill the gap. So nothing here. Apple, again, they it gap down. I deleted that gap so because it's filled. There's another gap here around 187. They're going to fill it Monday. CNQ, let's look at this. Actually, look at this US version of CNQ. There's a major gap here that will be filled. I don't see any major gaps to the downside. This gap was filled, so I think there will be potential to go higher, very, very high. A lot of potential for CNQ to go higher. So that's one of the biggest oil miner. Also, you can see it's making new low with divergence on PPO and RSI, and it's very, very. You can see 1 hour chart very, very oversold. All right. So you could be looking to get CNK if you want. And let me go and check S&P 500. You can see it's in a wedge and they broke out and then fall last hour, came back to the wedge. So it might come all the way down and fill this gap. Oh, actually this gap is not there anymore. So I'm going to delete this. See, that's why we do this gap analysis. It was a gap down. They went to fill this gap. Triple Qs, here you go. It's also gap up. Okay, so I marked another gap. You can see this was gap down. They filled this gap. This was a gap down on Wednesday, and they went and filled this gap. Okay, so new high with divergence. So gotta be careful. And the multiple gaps to the downside. So be a bit careful here. Dow Jones, no gaps here. IWM gap down, and they filled the gap. And last hour they sold off. Basically, maybe profit taking. Newmont Mine. Basically, this gap is now left to the top side. Very bullish move on Thursday, and then they gave all back on Friday. A lot of choppiness. So this is why you gotta take profits whenever you can. Don't be greedy, guys. This market is very, very hard, and it's not forgiving. Okay, so you gotta be very careful. Take profits whenever you can. And this is gold miner. So I'm gonna just delete some of these gaps which are filled. This gap is not filled, so now it's gone to the top side. This gap. So let me make this. All right, here you go. Let's look at some major indices, and then I'm going to do a Netflix gap up, gap down, sorry. Massive gap on Amazon, 7%. Look at this gap on Meta, unbelievable. So uh, I cannot believe how high they took this guy. Just killed all the shots. This is Google. This gap is filled, but I'm going to make it down. This is green now. Snowflakes, NVDA also 5% new high, another gap up. So we're going to mark bottom gaps with green, and we're going to mark top gaps with yellow. AVGO, you can see this gap is filled, but this bottom gap now filled left. So I'm going to mark it as green. This gap is going to be red. I will delete this. AMD, another gap up. So we're going to mark this with green. And I think that's about it. Shopify 8% up. Unbelievable. This is just unbelievable stuff, guys. I cannot believe how this market is like just pushing everything up like crazy. All right, so let's start with Bitcoin, BTC. Let's go to daily chart of BTC. You can see if I zoom out, uh, there is a gap. I was looking at, I released a short video. I think I did not save it, but let me quickly go a little bit to the left side. This is 1 hour chart. Bear with me here. Just gonna go a little bit on the left side to make sure there's a gap which I can find it. I don't, I think it's around, let me zoom out, it's around 50K. Let me undo this. Just bear with me. Here you go. So around here, let me zoom in. So there's a gap here. So if I mark this, there you go. We'll mark it with yellow line. All right, and let's see if there's anything else here. There was a gap here. This is the higher gap, so I will bring it down a bit. Here you go. All right, so this 63,000 gap, just want to make sure it's not filled by anything else. Yeah, it doesn't look like. Okay, so I'm going to go back to daily chart and go back here. All right, so this is Bitcoin. So there are these three gaps. Okay, there's one gap around 63K here, and there's another gap around here. Let me see. Again, let me double check this. I think it does look like, I'm not sure if this gap is filled, so I just have to be careful. So I'm going to delete this because it doesn't look like this is there. So anyhow, so this gap is around 53K, and there are all these bottom gaps here. Okay, so now there's a top gap. If Bitcoin pumps from here, it is possible, and it's going to be pumping to 24% higher. And if it dumps from here and decides to fill all the gaps at the bottom side, it's going to be 53% down. All right. So you got to make what's right decision for you. Just remember, it's kind of it's in the front of a lot of resistance. And I think, in my opinion, there are possibilities of going to the downside than to the upside. Uh, the good news is it's above all moving averages. It just closed above all moving averages, Bitcoin. You can see above all of them. And let's zoom this in. PP green line is above red line. Okay, so these are the good news on Bitcoin. Oops, what did I do? Let me bring this chart back in and let me zoom this back in. Okay, so yeah, so some hope for bulls that it's above all moving averages. Let's look at the live chart here. So it gives some more data. This is also above all moving averages, and green line is above red line. So this is good news. Actually, PPO is crossover or a size crossover. Now it could be making a flag. If I go to like a 4-hour chart, this could be like a flag here. You can just doing a flag and it could bounce. All right. So looks okay. It all depends on, I guess, what S&P 500 will do. But just be careful of all these gaps to the bottom side. So they will fill 90% of the times. I don't know when they will fill. Just remember there are so many gaps. Okay, so just be patient, guys. Focus on investing somewhere else because eventually they will dump. And when they dump, you know how fast they dump Bitcoin. Ethereum also. Now the good news on Ethereum is these two gaps are not filled to the top. So they will eventually go and fill this gap. So just be mindful of that. And let's go to daily side. It is possible now we can go fill this gap first around 2484 and come down later to fill these bottom gaps. All right. So just be mindful of that. And if I bring in moving averages on the live chart, you can see now it's a bit weaker. It's below red line and white line, which is 20 moving average, and red line is 50 SMA. So it's facing some resistance. That's the only thing which I don't like. And but Ethereum can still, if Bitcoin pumps, it can still go ahead and fill those two gaps before it goes lower. But just like Bitcoin, just be a bit careful here, guys. You can see a lot of these indices are in the new highs, and February is usually bearish. And if these fall, Bitcoin will also fall with them. Okay, especially these two early gaps, 39,835 and 39,325. These two can fill like any day from here. So be a bit careful. All right, so that's for crypto. Let's go back to VIX. This is fear index. So I go to 1 hour chart on VIX. I see no gaps here. So what VIX is doing is it's still making higher highs, higher lows. It can still come down to this trend line or it can still pick up. Okay, so if VIX it picks up, February is usually bearish for stock market. If VIX bounces, it can easily fill these two gaps, and that's going to drive stock market down. But so far we are on this trend line. All right. Now let's look at SPY, S&P 500. Daily chart, we are on this wedge, bearish rising wedge with divergence on PP and RSI. If I draw an arrow, you can see lower highs here and lower highs here. Okay, so still going higher on a divergence. So just be careful here. All these gaps to the downside. So it's not like a really good look here. If I go to 1 hour chart, you can see what they did. You can see they're just bouncing around in this wedge. Last hour they looked like a breakout and they came back on this wedge last hour. Okay, so a couple of hours before last hour broke out and then came back. Now they can come all the way down to test these bottom of the wedge. Okay, they can come all the way down as well. So just be careful here. So if I were you, I will be taking my profits. I'm not in this, to be honest. I'm looking at oil miners. I'm looking to buy like Tesla and oil miners, which are way down. I'm not interested in this market. Uh, but anyhow, that's my personal opinion. And there's divergence, and there's already a list sign of like taking profits. So be a bit careful. Like I'm not interested. I think if it breaks, something like this can happen. If it breaks down, there could be a correction. Okay, so if it broke down, there was a correction of around 6%. That's what I'm expecting. It can happen. I don't know when it will happen. It will happen probably between now and April. Okay, so next couple of months, I can see a big correction happening. So look to take profits if you haven't. Triple Q, same thing, new highs, divergence on PP and RSI. Again, if I go to 1 hour chart, you can see so many green lines are the gaps. And again, new highs on divergence on RSI and PPO. So not interested in this market at all. Okay, so just remember all these gaps to fill. This is not the time to be bullish, in my opinion. Uh, no, bull market can go higher and higher, but I want to wait for. I want to buy on a pullback like here, like here. 2 days ago, I bought it HQU like 2x3 ETF, and I sold yesterday. So this is where I want to buy. I want to buy on only on pullbacks. Okay, I don't want to buy on near resistance. It's like at new all-time highs. Okay, so let's quickly scan through Dow Jones. Also new high, looking for a again divergence on RSI and PPO, very weak. IWM is a little bit weaker. Not sure why all of the indices came to new high and IWM is going lower, but it's finding some support here on green on red line, which is 50 SMA. It can still bounce from here. All right. Let's look at oil. Oil is below all moving averages, but oil is near big support here. Okay, so this whole area, if I zoom out, this is my favorite trade right now. I want to buy which is selling off. I don't want to buy which is stuff which is towards the top. So yeah, so it's near support here. So it can bounce from here. Okay, this is where I want to buy near major support. All right, CNQ is the one stock. Also, it's near major support. If you want to trade with me, you can buy this first thing Monday morning. You can see major support here. This is where you want to buy on major support. All right. So I'm just going to delete this. I just wanted to show you this. Tesla. Uh, Again, very green couple of green dots. Every time I get this green dot, it's like near bottom. It could still go lower. Okay. Last time we got green dot here and it went almost 8% lower. We got green dot here, earlier green dot, and then look what happened. I think from this day here, it went again 8% lower. Here we got green dot and it was very close to the low. Here also we got green dot and then it again went from here around, oh, around 20% lower. All right, that's weird. But again, I think something similar. So we got two green dots now. Now, earnings was really unfortunate. And then since first green dot, we went almost 14, 15% lower, but that's okay. You guys just got to be patient. Okay. This is bottom forming is just because this fall was so huge for Tesla. You can see this green line is acting as a big resistance. This is the first time it's now just it's forcing them to go down. So as soon as this green line is closed above this price action, it's now around 194. As soon as stock grows above that, that's going to be first achievement, and it's going to be very bullish after that. Okay, now this gap is immediate target 206.74. That could be filled anytime, and then if I zoom out, you can see all these gaps at the top side. A lot of potential, although there are potential to go down to, so keep that in mind. But we are right in the middle now. It can definitely go here where it went, but it's at some lower, like there's some area of support right now here. Okay, this consolidating, building energy, building base before it makes the next move higher. All right, gold now broke out, came back nicely, held above all moving averages, nothing wrong, looking good. Silver went though 2% down, but again on the support line. There are two trend lines, but it's now holding first trend line, so everything is good. I think silver is getting ready for a breakout, so look to buy it as soon as possible. Natural gas, now I'm still looking this move higher from here to fill this gap around 2.189 before it can go lower. So looking for this to fill and then go lower, or it can still go lower. Okay, mid Feb is where I will be looking to buy natural gas a lot. DXY massive breakout after NFP report, non-farm payroll. This is way higher than people expected, so buy signal here. But if it breaks down, then that's gonna be like I showed you short term, it's in the sell zone. So if it breaks down, it's gonna be good signal for gold, stock market, and Bitcoin to go higher. Already covered Bitcoin and Ethereum. Let's look at Apple. They bought it. They bought it. They closed below 200 SMA. They closed. They opened near 200 EMA, and people just bought it. Like buyers bought the dip. I think algos are trained to buy at 200 SMA. They still did not fill this gap. Okay, so if they can still go, there was a gap here. They filled it. There was a gap here around 183. They filled it, and they just kept going higher. Okay, this could be a massive reversal signal. Okay, I think something like this happened before as well, but it can definitely come back down as well. So keep that in mind. They can fill this gap and then come back down. Still a lot of potential on Apple long term if you want to hold. This is the major stock. They're not gonna keep selling it. TSX, still this gap is not filled, so wait for that. Hang Seng Index holding below this trend line, white trend line, still very weak. Wait for it to close above that before you buying it. And what else is here? Let's look at commodities. Copper by the dip. Now it's finding support on this white line. This is where you want to buy the dip. Soya beans, new lows with divergence, also looking good. Sugar holding nicely above all EMAs. Still, I think commodities are selling because of dollar, looking good. Okay. Wheat is also holding above all moving averages, just building this blue line. You have to wait for blue line to break out before it can go higher. Corn also just consolidating, building a nice base. And whenever it breaks out, it's going to be massive breakout. So keep that in mind. Gold miners, Newmont Mine, so many gaps, new low, I think. Was it a new low? Not yet. So it was very weak on Friday. Green line tried to cross above red line, but it's again pointing downwards. Let's see if we can cross it. Gold miners, now here I think it's going to come back, fill these two gaps around 27 and 27.65. And that could be a good entry if you want to buy for long term. 3% down is also possible. If that happens, look to buy it. And then Netflix. Guys, I'm not interested in any of these tech stocks. I will just review quickly, but I don't want to buy any of these. I want to buy oil miners and commodities, which are to the lows, not these new highs. Netflix new high on divergence, Amazon new high on divergence, still divergence on RSI and PPO. Facebook new high, divergence on RSI, no divergence on PPO, still divergence on PPO. You can see this breakout last time it happened here, and on 1st February 21 consolidated, then came down. That's also, you can see again here, consolidated breakdown. So I'm not interested to buy this. Microsoft, again, divergences, all these big tech stock. Now Google closed below this trend line. They managed to close above that. Now this gap, this is not filled, 137. So looking for more downside on Google. Snowflake's up 9%, but still divergence. NVDA, new highs, still no divergence. Yeah, a little bit divergence on RSI. PPO also massive divergence. You can see if you do from here. AVGO, again, divergence on PPO. AMD, no divergence on PPO, but RSI showing divergence. So most of these major stocks are showing divergence, and are sharp, massive divergence on PPO and RSI. So I think near earnings is going to dump very hard, in my opinion. Okay, guys, I think that's all I wanted to review. Again, if you're still here, please hit the like button on your way out, and I'll see you Monday morning with a short video. Right, guys? Take care. Bye.